Okay, hello everybody. So it has been a minute since I talked to the camera. I want to first and foremost thank everyone for watching the PCT video series with me and my dad. It was an amazing journey and adventure for us. A lot of fun, a lot of hard work, a real amazing experience basically for both of us. The support and the views and the comments and the likes have been huge. The subscriber count for the channel going up has been huge. We've met so many amazing people through our journey out on the trail, people and trail angels that helped us on the trail, and people watching these videos and being supportive with their comments, especially with the way things kind of went down at the end of our journey. It was really hard to not feel like we were letting a lot of viewers down that wanted to see us continue further. And everyone's support has been amazing about the decision we made and it being the right thing to do, and supportive of following the channel and sticking with us, and continuing to keep an eye out for those new adventures to come. So I want to get that out of the way first, thanking all those people, because that means a great deal to have that kind of support from all you guys, and to take you along with us. Had a lot of fun making the series. It was a lot more work than I thought, to try to incorporate editing and filming into just the grueling nature of through hiking, but learned a lot. I have a lot of different skills and equipment now through doing it and experience, so it should continue to grow my ability to make these videos better and better kind of as we go along. So I want to get that out of the way first and foremost, because that's the biggest thing, is thanking you guys for your kind comments and taking the time to watch the videos, especially all those that you have told me you watched every single video in the series. That's a lot of videos. It's a lot of similar feel to it, and I really appreciate that, because that's time you've chosen to watch the stuff that I've taken the time to make versus all the thousands of forms of entertainment you can watch out there. So I appreciate that. I want to say that I appreciate my core group of people that have watched all my stuff throughout this, that goes to our website and checks out Megan's blog and all the other stuff we have going on, that comments and likes on our pictures and our videos, and all those things are huge. All the links to everything will be down in all the descriptions of my videos now. There's kind of like this link website that links to all the different stuff in one place. So if there's any place you don't follow our stuff on, or haven't checked out the blog or the website, or any of the other Instagrams or whatever we're doing, there's always a link in any of these videos. You can check that out. Make sure to subscribe, turn your notification bell on to get informed when a new video comes out. The schedule should go back to once a week videos kind of now for a little bit, till I kind of get caught up. I want to do a series of just catch-up videos here, talking about the rest of the story, kind of what went on getting off the trail, and then stuff that's coming up next, and some thoughts I've had for the channel and whatnot. So it should be a series of videos here for a little bit, just kind of catching everybody up on the follow-up and what's next, and then going forward should have more hiking videos out there and about. So let's go back. I'm trying to think exactly what the best... We didn't film a whole lot on the last 2 days of the trail. I guess let's take it back to Kennedy Meadows. So we left Kennedy Meadows, pretty high spirits, feeling good. We got our bear barrels. We cut our weight down as low as we could. Managed to do it to make up for the excess weight and food we were going to have to carry in the bear barrels. And we had headed out. We felt fine, I believe, that first day. Hiked out of Kennedy. It was still pretty hot. Hiked out of Kennedy Meadows. Got to our first real flowing stream, and that was real uplifting. So it's like, oh, we're so glad to leave long water carries behind and have consistent water sources. So it was either that day or the next day, and we had a lot of elevation gain. And I was off ahead of Dad a little bit, which was common. And then he caught up to me, but it took a whole lot longer that day. And that's the day he laid down, and we probably stayed, I don't know, 3 to 5 hours in one spot. And he wasn't feeling good. We didn't know if it was weight or elevation or what the deal was. So we wrestled with him going back, me going forward, on and off there. He felt better the next day. I still felt fine. I think it was the next day after that that I felt the same thing he did, very similar symptoms. So that's when we started thinking maybe this was something else, maybe this was a virus. We did have people suggest to us on trail, other hikers, keeping their distance. We try to camp a little bit further away from people and let them know, hey, just so you know, this is going around between us. We don't know where it came from, but you might not want to get too close. So that's when I think the first hikers suggested, this could be COVID. And we're like, oh no, it just doesn't feel that bad or whatever. Then it just progressively got worse. You saw the videos, got off trail the last day. I didn't film a ton, but you'll see if you go back and look at the videos. I'm hiking, and through that whole day, I'm wearing pretty much every set of clothing that I had. I had my long johns on, my shorts on, my hiking shirt. I wore my puffy all day. I wore my stocking cap, I think almost the whole day, and it was like 80-degree weather. And anyone that knows me, I just run hot, and hiking you're hot, so you don't wear that much. I wore that all day and could never get warm. And we probably hiked, I want to say like a mile at a time, and then would lay down and would flat out go to sleep. Like not just rest, like flat out sleep, and sleep for about an hour. And then we'll wake up, hike a mile, do the same thing. So I feel like the last day at least, if not the last 2 days, were that the whole time. And it was brutal. Probably the 2 hardest days of hiking we had on the whole trail. Not because of necessarily the heat, but just feeling so sick and weak and tired, and like I said, just falling asleep the minute we sat down. So we got off trail. I think I left off on one of the second to last video about trying to get a hitch. We did get a hitch relatively soon. 2 firefighters from the LA area that were up doing Mount Whitney came and picked us up. It was actually kind of funny because we were trying to find a good spot between the kind of camping day use area and the road to hitch from, to find a good place where people could pull off. And when we got up to the spot that we thought would be the best, there was already a girl sitting there. And she, at first we didn't get a good look at her. We were just like, any luck with the hitch? She's like, no, I've been here for like an hour, haven't seen anything, no one stopped. Good luck to you. So we're like, would you mind if we stay here? Maybe a group of us and we'll have better luck or whatever. She said that was fine. So we were there for not even 5 minutes, and this truck pulled up. The 2 guys, the firefighters I was saying, got out. They emptied the whole back of their truck, or the back seat of their truck, and said, man, I don't know if there'll be room, but they threw everything in the canopy section of the truck, and all 3 of us jammed in there. And we said, if there's only room for one, take her. She's been here a lot longer than we have. We can wait till the next ride. They're like, no, we can make all 3 of you fit. So we jam in there. So we start going down the road, and they've got all kinds of questions for us. The typical, like, where'd you start? How long have you been on trail? All the questions that people are unfamiliar with if they're not, aware of the thru hiking community and all that. And it's really fun to tell them. So we're kind of shooting with them, going back and forth, and the girl's telling her about her side of the story. And I know she has like this really strong Australian accent, and then she starts telling her story about her start date and around her time. And I stop after, kind of a pause in the conversation, and I lean over to her. We're all crammed in the back seat, and we've got our packs on our laps. It's all just super tight in there. So I kind of lean around the packs or whatever. I said, did you leave Scout and Frodo's around the 9th or 10th or something like that? And she's like, yeah. I said, I'm pretty sure you were there the same day, because when we left Scout and Frodo's on our start date, 2 people stayed behind that weren't, their start date was the next day, and they were there a day early. And there was a girl that had a really strong Australian accent. Well, strong to me, I don't know if it was strong, but to us, had an Australian accent. And she stayed behind, and this other guy stayed behind that we did meet later on trail. And we hadn't seen her since then, and this was that girl. And it was funny because we joked with people at Scout and Frodo's how often, in the videos I've seen of people have done the whole trail, how often people that you meet in the first day or week, at some point at the end of your journey, no matter where you finish or whatever, if you get all the way, they seem to come back around. Like they have another chance meeting where it's like, what are the chances in 2,650 miles and 6 months worth of journey that we both end up at the beginning and the end together? So we'd all kind of joked about that as a group, is like, out of this many of us, how many is going to make it? And out of this many of us, where are we going to see each other down the line? And so I thought it was crazy after joking about that on our literal, at that point we knew it, last day on the trail. We see someone from our first, not technically on the trail, but our day before at Scout and Frodo. So I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, they took us down the mountain. The guy that was driving kind of jokes, just so you know, we're not going anywhere fast. The the curves and the drop-offs around here are insane. He's like, I'm going to drive like a grandma down this hill. And I'm like, we're fine with that. We've been in some crazy rides from getting hitches, so we're good with whatever. Just having a ride is all, not having to walk it is all that matters. So he put it in about 30 miles an hour. We crawled down that hill, and for good reason. There's some steep drop-off. There's no guardrails. It was quite a long ways down, and they weren't going all the way into Lone Pine. They were coming down to this kind of junction area. They were headed to, I think, Whitney Portal, where they were going to stay the night to kind of get used to a higher elevation, and then they were going to climb Whitney the next day. So they dropped us off at that point, but they said you'll have no problem getting a hitch because it's like this central hub where all these different town roads come together. So they dropped us off at this corner. We thanked them for that. They wouldn't accept any money. They were just happy to help, so that was really nice. And within, I don't know, 2 minutes, Dad got a hitch, which is a funny story because when we were headed down to get the first hitch, this guy suggested the camping area we went to and said, this is where your best chance of a hitch. If you're sure we're going to get one, and does it matter weekend versus weekday? And he joked with Dad about, he's like, you should have brought your daughter instead of your son. You'll have better luck with a hitch, because notoriously females have better luck getting hitches than guys that look a little more scary or whatever. And but he said you should have no problem because everyone's going to give a ride to Santa Claus, because Dad with the big old beard and whatever. So anyway, when the firefighters dropped us off, within 5 minutes, me and the girl had our thumb out on the main road. Dad was kind of on a side road still, thanking the guys talking to the firefighters, and he put his thumb out, and within 5 minutes got a ride. So from then on, well, we didn't need it, but we joked about, Dad's the one to send out for the hitch because he's the white-haired old man that looks like, oh, I need some help, and then we can come from behind and be like, hey, can you fit 3 or 4 or whatever? So anyway, he got a hitch right away. It was not even 5 more minutes ride into Lone Pine. The guy dropped us off at the grocery store so we could buy some stuff, and we were going to look for just kind of some kind of medication and food and whatever, and we'd already had a hotel booked in town. And we felt really bad because it's like we're sick and we're like around these other hikers. We're in the guy's truck, we're in another person's truck, so we tried not to touch anything, but it's like we needed the ride into town. You can't hike that distance, and we're sick, so it's like this weird catch-22 situation where it's like, I don't want to expose more people, especially if this is COVID, but at the same time, I got to get down the mountain. So it's like as careful as you can, but if you advertise, if you're like, hey, by the way, I'm sick, then you're never getting a ride. So it's like this moral dilemma of like getting a ride into town versus not or whatever. So we try to be careful and not touch anything. We try to be careful and not, just expose them, come close to them. A lot of fist bumps, no handshakes and stuff like that, using a lot of our hand sanitizer, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we didn't contract it onto anyone else, whatever we had. So anyway, getting to Lone Pine, I had this weird thing where I might have mentioned it in one of the videos, where my ears didn't pop on the way down. I don't know if that had to do connected to whatever sickness we had or whatever. So we got into town and I could like barely hear. Everything sounded really foggy. And the one ear, I think it was my right, hurt really bad. And I couldn't get it to I couldn't get that feeling to go away. So it was just torturous, like going in a shot, and I kept chewing on things. I went and bought gum and tried to chew on that, get to pop drinking things, would not. So I went and did all the shopping, bought some just over-the-counter, cough and flu kind of stuff. Asked them, they had one little shop in there, asked them about COVID tests, and they did not have COVID tests, and nowhere in the town had a place that they had over-the-counter or any kind of COVID test anywhere. It's right, great. So I bought the stuff we needed. I think we got Subway that day. I can't remember. Maybe we got milkshakes late. I don't remember. But went back to the hotel and just kind of chilled. I think we were in Lone Pine for a couple of days. We had to send stuff, all the stuff that we couldn't fly home with. Well, that was a whole process, figuring out whether we're taking a train, whether we're taking a bus home, whether we're flying home, what was the cheapest route. Eventually, the cheapest route was, and quickest obviously, was taking a plane. We talked about going through Fresno. Instead, it became cheaper to take a local transit system that ran all the way from Lone Pine to Reno. And then we had to stay in Reno, I think a night or 2 nights, to catch the cheapest flight midweek back home to Oregon. So, that's basically how everything went down. I'm trying to think of anything major in between. I mean, we just stayed in the hotel. It was pretty warm. Lone Pine is beautiful, by the way. A small little town, but it's got this beautiful backdrop. I think I got one shot of it. Beautiful backdrop of the Sierra Mountains. I plan to, at some point, go back in there, but we felt better on and off as we got back to Lone Pine. There's like days are better and then other days worse. Energies came in bursts, just like it did in trail, where we could go out and go get food or walk down to the post office or go do our laundry or the little things in town that we wanted to do before we flew out. Then we'd come home and just crash and just had no energy. One little thing would just wipe us out for the day. So it went ebbs and flows as far as getting worse and better. And then our bus ride all the way to Reno, I can't remember, it was multiple hour bus rides and a couple, getting off and getting on and taking breaks and loading more people and unloading and whatever. So it took a while to get to Reno. So that day was it's just not comfortable in the bus. You couldn't get comfortable. It just didn't feel good. So that day was very draining. But the hotel, you probably saw if you watched the last video, the hotel in Reno was a casino that's relatively new in the Reno area, I guess. And so the rates are like really low and reasonable to kind of bring people in. And I guess it was kind of like the off season for them. So we got a hotel for like 10 or 15 bucks more than we would have paid for a Motel 6. You probably saw a little bit. It was like super fancy in a casino. It was right around the time the NBA finals were on. So we were able to go downstairs to the sports book and watch the NBA finals. I made a parlay bet on the NBA finals game and won that. So that was pretty exciting. Won like 500 bucks. So that was exciting to kind of cap off the whole thing. So yeah, staying in Reno was nice, and then the flight home. I don't think I'm really missing anything big. Oh, so anyway, we get to Reno, and there's a Walgreens. So we walk down to the Walgreens. It's like 2 blocks down to look for COVID tests once again. And they say they get them on the daily, and then they sell out. So they get like 5 or 6 a day, and then they're out of them. So I said, you can go ahead and check tomorrow. And I think by this time, tomorrow is the day of our flight. And so couldn't get them that day, couldn't get tests, bought some more medication, that time at Walgreens and snacks and stuff for the room. And the next day at the hotel, then it came today to fly out. We're like, well, we fly out today. We could run down to Walgreens when they open, and we have time to probably get a COVID test, and we can test. The problem is with flying, once you test and then then you're not supposed to, and it's a quarantine, and you're not supposed to get on the plane. So it's like, in this case, it felt like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing. It's like, we don't know. That's what it is. And at this point, I don't know exactly how many days, but it had been almost a week with the multiple days in the hotel, multiple days after getting. So Dad's symptoms his first symptoms had been at least a week out. So maybe we were on the decline as far as being able to be contagious. So we thought at that point, maybe just ignorance is bliss to the whole thing. Hopped on the flights. I think we had connecting flights that day through San Francisco, a little bit of a layover, but travel's travel. Just was what it was. I filmed a little bit. The only thing I regret, so we get home to Oregon, and Mom and Megan and the boys come to meet us at the airport. And I had been filming just little bits and not talking to the camera because I didn't feel good, but just little bits of B-roll footage of the airplane and landing, and you'll see it if you watch the last video, just kind of that stuff. And I was debating, like, should I strap the GoPro onto my backpack like I'd done and film me, seeing Megan and the boys and Mom for the first time because of a reunion or whatever. It could be cool for the video. But I always struggle with like the line between what's too personal and how much I want to show. What's for me, what's for my family, what's for me and my dad and our relationship versus what's for everyone to see. And I want to let you guys in on the reality of it, but I also don't want to take away from moments, making it more important to film than it is to live in the moment. Or just overshare stuff that it's like that's personal, or kind of save that. So I decided I'd filmed enough today. I'm not going to film, seeing the boys or whatever. So I didn't. And in some ways, I kind of wish I did, because we come down and Megan and the boys had worked on signs that said Daddy and which is what they call their grandpa. And were standing there to greet me, and they had like this, not awkward, I want to say, but just like, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do, and it had been so long since they saw me, and it was just like this, but it was like the cutest thing. So I started coming down this escalator or stairs and then walking through these doors, and there they are standing there with those signs. It all just absolutely melted my heart. Like, it was just, like I told Megan, like, top 10 moments of my life. Like, it was so beautiful, and both of them come big hugs and whatever, and then both of them, well, my oldest especially, has his arms around my neck, and just was not gonna, I'm like, I want to hug your mom, I want to hug your brother. Nope. And he was gonna hold on, so everyone else got a one-armed hug because he was just locked on. And he was kind of like that when I went on the Oregon trip too and did the PCT. When I got back, everywhere I went for like the next week, he had to be right there. He's like, no, Mom, I spent a lot of time with you while Dad was gone, and now I need to be with Dad. And so every time I went to the store, every time I did anything, he was like right by my side. I don't think it was so much like you're going to wander off, just like a makeup. We're making up for the time I was gone, which is so sweet. So it was similar this way, but like I expected, once I get back, everything kind of falls into place, and it's just like I never left in a kind of way. And flying in, it was like it'd been raining there. We had an exceptionally rainy, whatever you want to call it, early summertime compared to what we were used to. So just as soon as we flew into over Oregon at all, everything was green. We're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Like, we'd missed the green so much, and it was kind of a drizzly day. And it's like we hadn't had anything like that on trail. So it was so nice to be back in that. So anyway, we got home, and Mom and Megan had already I think we'd had them at home, like the free COVID test they gave out if you requested them or whatever, went to the post. I don't know how the whole thing worked, but they had already gotten several free COVID tests. So I wasn't home just a little tiny bit. And Megan was like, let's take the test and find out. So ran the test. I'll see if she has the picture, and I'll throw it in here. But ran the test, COVID test, boom. Comes back positive, and not seconds later, Mom texts from Mom and Dad's house, and they're like, your dad took the test and it was positive. What does Nick say? So we had both had COVID. On the test, it's kind of like a pregnancy test where it's like 1 line or 2 lines or something like that or whatever. And I don't know if it makes a difference, but my line was like really dark. So I don't know if that's like more COVID or stronger strain or I don't know what. And both of us are fully vaccinated and had all the boosters, so it's some variant of it or whatever. So it was actually kind of helpful to find that out. I mean, scary back, oh my gosh, I had COVID. But to be so far long into it by the time I kind of found out, and then when we looked it up, that I probably wasn't exposing many people along the journey, because probably by the time I got to the airport, and definitely by the time I'd gotten home to the boys, that, I mean, we're still on the lookout for it, but the likelihood of me being able to spread it, and we kind of traced it back to Kennedy Meadows, which we heard about later. It had kind of been, there's so many hikers coming in there from all over the place. Hikers are dirty anyway. Everyone's got different levels of hygiene out there. Everyone's got different levels of getting their hands clean after going to the bathroom. Everyone's got different levels of washing their hands or cleaning themselves before they eat, touching this stuff. There's common eating areas, common sleeping areas, showers, laundry, all that stuff. You're just touching. It's just, the perfect scenario for stuff to spread. So I don't have any ill will towards the places at COVID. It's not, or at Kennedy Meadows, it's not their fault for that. Like, that's just going to happen with that many hikers coming together. We thought of that as possibly being a possibility going into it anyway. So it's not like we weren't going to stop at Kennedy Meadows, and it's not like it could have been avoided. So it's unfortunate that that's what it was, but it was nice to find out that for sure that's what it was, and find out this far into it, like, we had survived. We're good. And it also helped with the decision being like, this wasn't just a head cold, this was a big deal. And especially if it was a variant, like, this was once again, another reaffirmation that we made the right decision to go out when we did. So I think, I want to say, so then it's back to home. Felt relatively good within 2 to 3 days. Dad was about the same as far as weight, because a lot of people have asked how your dad doing with weight. He put on a little bit when we got back to a more healthy level, but he wanted to try to keep it lower. So he's been maintaining kind of that level, kind of testing out a new norm for him. But as far as feeling, he feels good. We do feel, still to this day, we made the right decision to leave because of the circumstances and everything that kind of lined up. It's hard, though. It's a struggle some days, because now that we're back for a while now, but now that we're back, you definitely miss it, which we knew we would when we were out there. It's like you're there and you miss home, and then you're home and you miss out there. So it's a hard balance. You can't ever, the human way, you can't ever quite find complete peace in where you're at. There's some kind of regret about it. So that's just kind of like the way it is. I know Dad has talked about wanting to go back possibly at some point, start where we left off in another year. Snow would change that. We had a really light snow year. Time of year would change it. I'll talk about in a future video, but we have a lot of plans. Me and my little family have a lot of plans coming up. So that's going to change the ability next year to necessarily do something. So I don't know. I don't know what will come of it. I don't know if we'll go back to the same spot. I've had a lot of comments and a lot of friends be really supportive, talking about, you sound so solemn, like this is the end of the journey, and it could just be the beginning step of the journey. Like, this is just your first piece. And especially, I think I talked about one of the videos, we met Bob Welch out there, who's a local writer for the Register Guard in Oregon, and he did it in tons of sections over tons of years, and I think they just finished up this year. So congratulations to Bob if he's watching out there. It's such a huge achievement, and it doesn't necessarily have to take anything away from it to do it that way. And like I said, it was more important for me to do it with Dad and get off together with him in the section that we did. So if we were to come back, I mean, obviously, Dad said he's got a short window. Like, he can't be doing this, 10 more, 15 more years down the road. But within the next, 5 years or so, maybe we could make a go of it in different sections. I know he's talked about wanting to hike Oregon. And both of us, are just kills us when we see the videos of people in the Sierras that went further. We stayed in contact with a lot of people that we met on trail as they've continued on, and they've faced all kinds of challenges. As those of you know, all the fires this year on the PCT in Northern California and then Oregon, and most of Oregon was shut down for a good section, and then now the border, or the fires at the border and the monument, people not being able to get there. It's just been heartbreaking. So it feels like this whole season has been that way for so many people, heartbreaking on different levels. And I can't even imagine, like, we think ours was hard, getting off trail 60 miles before the end of it after doing the whole, I just can't even process that. I don't know how people do. But it's been really helpful to have everyone's comments about, like, you're making the right decision, you did the right thing. It was helpful to find out we had COVID, so it was an extreme necessary thing. It was helpful to have Dads that be there, and Dad's weight be a factor, and health be a factor to help me make that decision. And it was helpful for Dad to have stuck with me so many times when he could have got off trail, and that helped me want to do the same, to finish it with him. So overall, I think it was the right decision. Tough decision. It's tough to this day. I don't know if and when we'll get back out there. If and when I do, or we do, or any combination, of course I will take you guys with us. I will film that journey. It will continue on. I'm sure there's a lot of people excited for that. If that's something you want to see, comment below. Let us know. If there's anything specifically you guys want to hear about that I haven't filled in the gaps as far as the story, or any questions about the hike in general. I've thought about doing a live Q&A. I don't know. I've done a couple premiere videos of these as they release, and it hasn't been super. My subscriber count, based on what it is, based on how many people would get online at exact time when a video came out. I had a couple people on the last one, but I don't want to do a live Q&A and have, 1 or 2 people show up and it not be, I mean, I guess for those 1 or 2 people. So maybe I will down the line, if there's enough questions you guys have about the hike that I haven't answered, or just one-on-one time be able to chat and talk or whatever. Maybe I'll do something like that, or maybe I'll make one of these a premiere video. But if that's something you're interested in, let me know. So I think that's it for this one. It was just wanted to be a wrap-up of what I haven't told about what went on. Kind of fill in those gaps in the story of the way I filmed it, just because we were sick and the circumstance. Hopefully, I feel like going forward, at least with the stuff I'm going to be doing sooner, it won't be through hike-esque. And so because of that, I'll be able to put a little more time into the videos versus trying to get them all thrown together. And hopefully, by the next time I'm doing anything like a through hike or a long journey, I can tell kind of a more cohesive story, just because the balance of the through hike, doing it with Dad, and all the logistics of it, and the filming and the editing and the different equipment or whatever just wasn't all completely dialed in. I get that it never will be. It's always going to be a process. But I feel like the next time be even better. I'm excited for that. I'm not regretful of anything I did with it. I like a lot of the videos. I think they improved as I went, but I'm always excited for them to get better. I'm always excited to bring better content and hopefully a bigger audience. Just a bigger audience that this gets, the more I can do things like this, and I don't have to go back to my 9-to-5 lifestyle or whatever, and I can do more and explore the opportunities within this, which is actually something I'm passionate about doing and enjoy doing, and gives me a lot more time, in this case with my dad, but a lot more time with my family, and to do these things together, which I'd much rather be doing than being away from them for 40 hours a week, grinding away, ruining my body, and hating life. So you guys make that possible. Your support, you guys watching the videos, taking the time, listen to me ramble and talk to the camera about nonsense. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so that's it. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There'll be, I think, a video series I want to talk about, probably in the next video. I want to talk about some possible changes to the channel, I also want to talk about the stuff that's coming up next for us, which is real exciting, really different, really unique, and I hope you'll follow us on that adventure as well as we reveal more and more about that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for going with us on this adventure. PCT was amazing. If you're just seeing this one and haven't, go back and look. There's the PCT Oregon series you can watch, where I went through the whole state of Oregon. There's the first attempted through hike and that whole fiasco in 2020. As you all know, that's what Megan is currently writing about in her blog, which the links are to below. Crazy story there. All our ups and downs to get us to this PCT journey, this PCT journey in itself, and all the ups and downs that it had, and getting to do it with my dad, which was just mind-blowing and nothing I expected. And then now on to the journey that comes next, which Megan will be writing about, and I'll be vlogging about, and you'll be hearing about. So make sure you subscribe. If you know anyone that would be interested in our content, let them know. Make sure they subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. So thank you all. We'll see you.